Good afternoon. Joe here, Joe Sober. Well, today is a very special day. Today, on November the 3rd, 2023, I celebrate 5 years of continuous sobriety. So, this video, I want to kind of go over what I've learned in these 5 years of sobriety, the good, the bad, the ugly, and hopefully maybe give you guys some tips and anything that might be able to help anybody that is beginning their sobriety journey or wants to become sober or get sober, and give some people some hope, because if I can do it, I believe anybody can do it. So, like I've shared in videos before, I had another stint of almost 4 years sober back between 2010 and 2014. And then I went on over a 4-year, around a 4-year, a little over a 4-year binge of drinking and stuff like that. And then one day I just had enough, I was tired of being sick and tired, as they say. So, I was tired of trying to be somebody that I'm not. I was tired of living a life that I didn't enjoy. I was tired of hangovers. I was tired of wasting my life. I was tired of trying to impress people, make people think that I'm more important than I was. And that I had more money than I actually did. And I was just tired of being sick and tired. So I woke up, I believe it was a Sunday, and said, or the night before, I said, this is it. Starting tomorrow, I'm not going to drink anymore, and, just take it one day at a time. And that's what I did. Basically, for the first, couple weeks or so, I just, did my job. At the time, I was in sales, and I sold windows and doors for home use. And so when I wasn't working, I was usually at home. I really didn't go out because, I didn't want to tempt myself. I thought, I'm going to try to do it my way this time. In the past, I had done AA, I'd gone to rehab and all that stuff. And I thought, well, I'm going to try it my way this time. And if I can't conquer it, then I'll, I will, go back to either rehab or go to AA or figure something out. But, and so basically what I've done is I've just taken it one day at a time. There's been times where I had to take it 1 hour at a time. But the biggest thing in my mind was, let's just get through today, and we'll worry about tomorrow. You have to make your sobriety journey your own journey. It's nobody else's journey. It's not your parents' journey. It's not your brothers and sisters' journey. It's not your significant other's journey, your wife, your girlfriend. Now they're a part of it. Don't get me wrong. They're a huge part of it, but it's not their journey. It's your journey. And you need to do what's best for you and what, gets you sober and keeps you sober. You can't, like I said in the last video, you can't do it for your wife. You can't do it for your husband. You can't do it for your kids. You can't do it for your parents. It won't work. You might stay sober for a little bit, but long term, it won't work. Now, obviously, there's going to be exceptions to the rule. There always is, but you've got to want to be sober. You've got to be ready to be sober, and you've got to do it for yourself. And, like in AA, they say find a higher power, and they say it doesn't have to be God and this, that, whatever. And one of the places I used to go to, which is a big place in the area that I'm from, they said at one point there was a guy that made his higher power the oak tree out front of this building. So, some people are going to understand that. They're going to know what I'm talking about, where I'm talking about with that. But, I believe that, you do have to have a connection with a higher power, and mine is God. And, I really don't think that there really are any other higher powers. And this is just my opinion. I'm not going to make this a religious debate. I don't want the comments to become a religious debate or anything like that. But I'm just saying what I believe. It's my channel. I can say that. So, but, when I was in AA and everything, they always told you, you have to get up every morning, and as soon as you get out of bed, you got to hit your knees and you got to pray and ask God, to help keep you sober and this, that, and whatever. And every night before you go to bed, you got to hit your knees. And, I think stuff like that kind of turns people off. I was watching a video and they said that, only 10% of people who have issues with alcohol and addiction will seek treatment, which leaves 90% untreated. And they said the main reason that is because people are told in order to stay sober, they have to go to meetings the rest of their life. And that a lot of people just aren't willing to do that. And you don't have to. I know that's going to upset a lot of people. It's going to piss a lot of people off. But, I've been sober today for 5 years and not gone to one AA meeting or anything like that, any kind of Alcoholics Anonymous meeting or event or anything like that. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to, because like I've said in other videos is, what works for one person isn't going to work for somebody else all the time. So what works for me might not work for you and vice versa. But you got to find what works for you. And, if that's going to AA meetings, if that's going to NA meetings, if that's going to Celebrate Recovery, if that's just going and talking to a therapist or a counselor or a psychologist or psychiatrist, then, do what works for you. And don't let all the outside noise in. Because I think that's a big part of why people don't stay sober as well, is because all the outside noise. You have to do this or you're not going to stay sober. You're not doing it right. The only right way is whatever way you find that helps keep you sober. And, I think that's the problem with some of these organizations, that if you don't do it this way, just like this, you're not doing it right and it's not going to work. So once you start falling off that track of doing it the way they tell you you have to do it, you get into your feelings, you get into your head, and you start thinking, oh, crap, here I go. And then that's where you fall off and you end up relapsing, in my opinion. So I think that, in AA, this isn't to bash AA or Celebrate Recovery or NA or any of those. I know a lot of people whose lives have been saved by those organizations, and thank God for that. But what I'm trying to say is that, AA might not work for everybody. NA might not work for everybody. Celebrate Recovery might not work for everybody. And then you got too many people on the outside that are in AA and say that NA just isn't any good, or Celebrate Recovery is not good, or you got people in Celebrate Recovery who say bad things about AA and NA, and all of them ganging up on the other ones instead of people just working together for the common good, which is staying sober. It's just like everything else in this world. If we all could just get along and work together, everything would be a much better place and a much more beautiful place. But that's just not how things are. So you have to live with that. But, just because, if you want to get sober and you talk to somebody that is sober and they say, I've gone to AA for 40 years or 20 years or 10 years, 5 years, whatever it may be, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to, go give it a shot. Find out if it's for you. Go and check out Celebrate Recovery. If you're a drug addict, check out Narcotics Anonymous. That would be my first, because, when I was in AA, a lot of people that we had at the AA meetings were from the long-term recovery centers. There was a male long-term recovery center and there was a female long-term recovery center. But a lot of those people, I would say 90% of those were drug addicts. And, and I would say I would also say that closer to 70 to 80%, maybe even 80 to 90% of them were not there because they wanted to be. They were court ordered there. And I think that's when you put people who want to get sober and it's their want to do it, and you put them with people who don't really want it but are court ordered to do it, I think that can cause an issue. And I think that's when you put those two different types together, that's where you can get a lot of relapses. And And I just want to state, this is my channel. These are my opinions. I know not everybody's going to agree with me, and that's fine. But I just think that we could get more people to get sober and stay sober if things were done a little different. Now, they might be done in different cities and different areas, different ways. But from where I'm from, and you also had most of those people going to AA meetings, even though they were drug addicts, which is fine, except for, I think a reason a lot of them relapse is because, I think that our brains are wired different as people who struggle with alcohol and people who struggle with drugs. Because like I've said in videos before, one thing that I just don't understand is that when you have a drug addict who's, let's say, shooting heroin, that they know that there's a 50-50 chance that they'll live or die when they stick that needle in their arm. So there's a 50% chance that that's the last thing that they'll do in their life is stick that needle in their arm. And I know for me personally, I never had faced that drinking alcohol. That, if you take that drink, there's a 50% chance that you're just going to fall out of your chair and be dead. Had that been the case, I pretty well know myself that I would have quit drinking a long time ago. But, I think, that goes to show that people's brains are wired different because, I was watching, I don't know what it was, I was watching a show or something, and there was a guy that used to be a heroin addict, and, he was saying that, he would sit there and he'd stick a needle in his arm, and people would say, there's a 50% chance you could die. And then he'd stick the needle in his arm as he's looking at them and plunge the drugs, the heroin into his blood and say, yeah, I know. And to me, that's just absolutely insanity. And, I think a lot of the things we do when we're on drugs and alcohol is complete insanity. We're always trying, as they say, to fill a void, inside of us. And we're trying to fill it with alcohol. A lot of times that could be relationships. That could be, your relationship with God, your parents, your siblings, your family members, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, wife or husband, something like that. But I think the true thing to getting sober and staying sober is you got to find yourself. And you got to do what's best for you. Not what's best for your family. Not what's best for your significant other. Not what's best for your kids. Not what's best for your friends, but what's best for you. And you've got to be selfish. You've got to go out and do what's best for you and let people know, look, I love you. Your opinion means the world to me, but I've got to do this for me, and I've got to do this my way. I've got to do it the way that is going to work for me. That might be AA, that might be NA, that might be Celebrate Recovery. That might be cold, not cold turkey, but that might be, just staying away and kind of, they say you shouldn't self-isolate, but, sometimes for the first couple days or week or something like that, sometimes that's what you got to do. Everybody's different. Now, I know that there's great success with Alcoholics Anonymous. I know there's been success with NA, Narcotics Anonymous, Celebrate Recovery. They all have success. But just because one way works for somebody doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So you got to find your way. First and foremost, you got to be ready to want to get sober. You got to want to do it for yourself. You can't do it for anybody else. And then you have to go from there and take it one day at a time, take it 1 hour at a time. But, always think, if you're starting to think, what, I can't do this, just tell yourself, I'm not going to quit today. Tomorrow's a different day, but today I'm not going to quit today. Reach out and talk to people. Let people know what you're going through. Don't hide it. Let them know. Say, hey, I'm trying. I need to quit drinking. Because most people, it's not going to be a surprise. They already have thought and known in their mind that you needed to quit drinking or doing drugs and stuff like that. So you telling them that you need to do that is not going to come as a shock or a surprise. Most people are going to be happy for you, and they're going to be willing to do whatever they can to help you. But you've also need to let them know that you've got to find your path to sobriety and in sobriety. You know, and a lot of the things I'm saying are going to, like I said, piss people off. It's really going to upset people because, you know, they're sticklers to know you got to do this, you got to do that. And, you know, and it is what it is, you know, but you've got to find what works for you. You got to know that all days, just because you get sober, not all days are going to be awesome. You know, 5 years down the road, I don't have an excellent, beautiful day every day. You know, so you've got to know that there's going to be, you know, shortfalls in your sobriety, and you're going to have to deal with those, and you're going to have to figure out a plans, especially in your early sobriety, of what you're going to do when you have a bad day, who you're going to call, what meeting you're going to go to, you know, different things like that. You know, if you go to events where there is alcohol or any other kind of drugs or anything, you've got to have an exit plan. You know, that was one of my biggest things, was if I ever went anywhere and there was alcohol or anything there and I didn't feel comfortable, I left. I always drove myself there. That way I could leave when I wanted to and I wasn't dependent on somebody else. So you've got to set up plans of action of what you can do if you get into certain situations. And you got to know you're going to lose a lot of people in your life. And I don't mean just by death, but you're going to lose a lot of people that maybe you thought were friends that you've come to find out were really just either drinking buddies or drugging buddies or acquaintances, you know, bar buddies, stuff like that. You've got to realize that that's going to happen. But, you know, you just need to know that not everything is sunshine and rainbows, especially at the beginning, you know. But if you do things the right way, you set up the certain plans of action of things you can do. When you get in sticky situations, it's going to make things a lot easier. And you got to quit beating yourself up. You know, some of the most famous people in the world have had issues with drugs and alcohol. You know, so, you know, and there's people that look up to those people, you know, like as idols. So, you know, don't beat yourself up. You know, everybody has their own different kind of issues. You know, yours might be alcohol, yours might be drugs. Somebody else might be, you know, they're addicted to food, you know, they're addicted to sex, they're addicted to porn, whatever it may be. You're not alone. You know, you're not the first person to admit that you have an alcohol or drug problem. You know, so don't beat yourself up about it. Like I said, and don't be scared to let people know, because if you hide it and they don't know what you're doing or going through, it's going to be much easier for them to say, hey, let's go out and have a drink, or, you know, you're out to dinner with them and say, oh, you know, have a beer, you know, here's a shot, stuff like that. But if they know that you're not drinking or whatever it may be, you know, they're not going to, usually if they're your true friend and they truly care about it, they're not going to push it on you. They're not even going to ask you to do it or suggest it. You know, a lot of people when I first got sober, buddies of mine that I've grown up with my whole life that are big drinkers and stuff, you know, we would go out somewhere to dinner or lunch or whatever, and, you know, where they would usually get a beer and stuff like that, or a mixed drink, and they'd get an iced tea or they'd get a Coca-Cola, you know, something like that. So, you know, if they truly care about you and they truly want what's best for you, they're going to have your back, and they're not going to try to put you in any situation for you to fall. You know, they're going to be there to try to help hold you up and do what they can for that. So, you know, you got to find the right people in your life. You know, you got to kind of do a checklist of, you know, the pros and cons of people and places and things. You got to figure out what your triggers are, you know. Is going to a restaurant or a bar or a buddy's house even to watch, you know, a sporting event, if you're into sports, you know, is that something that's going to trigger you because everybody else is drinking that you feel you need to drink? You know, or if you go to a buddy's house, are they going to say, hey, look, guys, you know, Joe's coming over, you know, he's not drinking right now, he's freshly sober, so we're not going to have any drinks here. You know, so if you're planning on coming over and wanting to drink, you know, either don't drink or don't come. But, you know, you can't expect people to do that either. You know, you can't expect everybody to change their life just for you because you're going through something. But a lot of people that truly care about you, in certain areas, they're willing to do that, you know, and you don't have to ask, and, you know, they'll step up and make that call, because they want you to succeed, and they want to be a part of helping you succeed. They don't want to be a hindrance. So, early sobriety is not fun. 5 years into it, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. So, everybody has a bad day, and I know people that have been sober 40 plus years, and they'll tell you the same thing. But as long as the easiest way to do it is take it one day at a time. One saying that they always had in Alcoholics Anonymous, AA, was we all have today. So, if you can just stay sober today. One of the biggest things that I struggled with in early sobriety back in 2010 and stuff like that, and even this time, was looking ahead to the future. And the future is not promised, guys. The past is the past. You can do nothing to go back and change it. The future is not promised. We have today, and it is a present. That's why it's called the present. So if you can just remember just for today, that's all you have control over is right now, today. You don't have control over the past. It's over. It's done. You don't have control over the future. You can do certain things to better your future, but there's nothing that you control. So just stay sober today. Just stay sober this hour. If you have to take it hour by hour, there's been plenty of people that do that. And like I said, don't be scared to reach out to people. If you know somebody and they're just an acquaintance, say you just know them on Facebook, but you notice that they live, a recovery lifestyle. They don't drink, they don't drug, they're sober, reach out to them, send them a message and say, hey, my name's so-and-so, I've decided recently that I wanted to quit drinking. And I was just wondering, if you had any advice for me, kind of give me, is there a way we could talk and you could kind of, give me your story and stuff like that, or, and even if you've been doing it for a while and you're having a rough day, and somebody on there, reach out to them, call, the, main line for Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. You can go online to aa.org, and I believe it's na.org. Now, Celebrate Recovery, I'm not 100% what their website is, but you can Google it, and then they'll give you people that you can talk to, or people that will even come pick you up and go have a cup of coffee with you, at a restaurant, or even go to a Starbucks, or just go pick up a cup of coffee at a local gas station, sit in a car at a park or something and talk. There's plenty of people out there that'll be willing to help you. You don't have to do it alone. But you do need to find what works for you and what you feel most comfortable and what your best odds are of doing to stay sober. So, if you go to an AA meeting and some old timer comes up to you and says, you got to do this, just be polite and say, okay, I'll think about it, or I'll look into it, or, something like that. And go to a couple meetings, talk to people, see how you feel, if you're comfortable or not, and if you're comfortable, great, stick with it, do the program, but if you're not comfortable, try something else, try Celebrate Recovery, try talking to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a counselor or whoever, a therapist, but try different things and find out what works for you, because it's your life, it's your journey, it's nobody else's. So I'm going to leave this here today. Today's a great day for me, for my family, for my friends, 5 years sober. I never thought this day would happen. I never thought, when I was younger, I'm 48 years old. I didn't think I'd live to be this long. I would have thought I would have drank myself or died in a car crash or something by now. But, God's got a different plan for me. And hopefully part of that plan is getting these videos out to, let people know that it's possible, and try to help somebody else. And, if somebody that might be struggling, comes across my video and helps them stay sober for that day, even just that hour or half hour that they watch the video or however long it is, and it's all worth it. So, I thank you all for watching my videos. I greatly appreciate it. If you got something out of it, please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. They both help me get my videos out to more people and circulated to. And, if you know somebody who, you think would enjoy this video or could get something out of it or needs this video, please share it with them, and let them, so they know that they're not alone, that there are other people out there. And I appreciate so much the people that watch these videos and share them and everything like that. It means the world to me. So till next time, have a great day, help somebody, and tell somebody you love them.